Hey, what's happening? Chad Allen here. Tonight we are going to be discussing all about that ego, what it is, what it's not, and 3 tips to help you figure out if it's your ego that is causing you to not be successful. Again, my name is Chad Allen, and a little bit about my backstory. When I was in 2015, I got married to my beautiful wife, and she became pregnant in 2016. And at week 30, we found out that she had breast cancer, and so she waited to give birth. And by the time she gave birth in November, we found out that she had stage 4 breast cancer. And then unfortunately, she ended up dying at when my daughter was 9 months old. And during that time, it was certainly very stressful, and you want to blame a lot of people or blame God, that kind of thing. But I've always looked for a way to help people with their health and try to find a way where their immune system can be boosted, and so they would not have to go through what I went through. And I believe I found that way. And of course, uh, it's been an amazing journey from there. A year later, I was happily married again to our best friend, and she's such an amazing mom to our daughter. And I could not have been more blessed to have her at my side and to experience the journey that we are going through by helping other people, have improved health, and also to help others transform their life to have a better life in general, whether that be through health or mindset, that kind of thing. Because at the end of the day, it's really all about your health, your physical or your psychological health. So is it your ego that is keeping you away from your success? And I couldn't help but when I was listening, and I was really listening to a book, and it really touched on this very specific issue, and I was really amazed by it because I never thought about ego being what what they showed it to be. Because I'm sorry, in most cases, when we think about ego, we are thinking about the pride side of it, right? Someone who's being very boastful in everything that they do. They are being someone who thinks more highly of themselves than what they ought to. These are people sometimes when um, they just they are puffed up, and so when we think about ego, that is where we are placing it as an individual. When we see a person and they're like they have all this great success, and they're kind of puffed up about it, and they're like, I am the greatest, I am the best, I'm this, I'm that. Or it could be someone who's not really that successful, but they still have that particular kind of ego when they think, oh, I am this, I am that, I'm great, you're nothing to me, blah blah blah. So that is typically the kind of ego that we tend to think about when we look at certain people. So, but at the end of the day, ego is much more than a puffed up person or a person who has a lot of pride within them. And I think you would really see this when we go through my top 3 solid ideas that will really help you recognize if it's your ego or not. And so, if you remember previously, we talked a lot about the subconscious mind and how the subconscious mind can really help us to achieve the kind of goals that we are wanting. And we talked a lot about the negativity and that kind of thing. So how do we know that it's our ego? And what exactly is this ego that we keep talking about? Well, ego can be many things, from the pride to someone's insecurities, to someone being judgmental, to someone who's afraid of change. Because when you really dig deep down, is that inner voice that is inside of your mind that tells you that you are no good, that you can't get it done, that you cannot, that you don't deserve what the other person has, or you're so afraid of change that something is kind of crazy. So, so let's talk about the number one of the things that is really ego on the side that is not really being prideful, because it kind of boils down to pride, right? Being prideful about who you are, that kind of thing, and you don't want to change, right? So it really boils down to those kind of things. And so many times we will have kind of a scarcity kind of mindset about ourselves. When we have this insecurity within us, we believe that we're not allowed to have these certain things. And so when we look at other people and we see them for what they have, we in our mind, what we do is we tell ourselves, go for, like, I know it was so easy for him, but for me, I don't think that can really happen. It's like, well, yeah, but he was wealthy, he's got a lot of friends, or yeah, but he's got this and he's got that. So we develop this scarcity mindset about ourselves, that we are limiting our belief system and what we can and cannot achieve. So we become we have that scarce we become scarcity. So that's one way that you can really see if it's ego that is causing you to not have the kind of success that you're looking for. Number two is that you're being judgmental. You're being judgmental toward yourself, and you're being judgmental toward others. So, for example, when you look at somebody, and or you look at somebody and you tell yourself, "I can't do that. I'm not that good. I would never be able to do Facebook Lives. I would never be able to do this. I would never be able to have a $1 million business. I would never be able to have the kind of body that person has." So you begin to judge yourself within yourself, and then that develops into other areas, like having that pride and scarcity, right? So these things are really all interconnected with one another. So the other thing is that typically happens is that we become afraid of change, and that change is like the ideas that we have they're always fluctuating, right? They're going back and forth, back and forth. Yeah, I will do this many this day. I will uh yeah, but then the day comes, okay, well, maybe I would just do 10. And so you begin to compromise on the ideas that you have. It's like, well, I can't do that. I'm just too tired. I can't do that because um, I don't know what's going to happen if I do that. I really don't have the time to really accomplish the kind of goals that I have. And I've used that, by the way, on myself. I've used that kind of mindset before, where we talk about the change and the ideas that are fluctuating back and forth. You have a particular idea that you are presenting yourself on paper, and then the next thing you know, you're changing up that idea because it's like, well, maybe it's too hard for me to do. So you also develop that scarcity mindset that you're having, within yourself. So So you could really begin to, if you really dig deep within your mind, you would really begin to see if it's an ego problem that you're having. So and lots of times the ego, it's going to be interconnected also with your subconscious mind. And so therefore, if you could figure out what is holding you back, maybe it is that ego, because it really is the ego that's talking to you, right? It's telling you that, yeah, I told you couldn't do it. Nah, too much. Nah, that's your ego talking. That's your subconscious mind talking. So your subconscious ego. So they're very interconnected with one another. Which is a little bit different from when you have intuition. In intuition, you have that gut feeling that you really should do that. It's like your subconscious mind is trying to tell you, hey, listen, you should really be doing that. While your ego is trying to tell you, don't think so. I'm too good for this. I'm too good for that. What would I have to do that for? And so there's a lot of examples of very famous people where the ego got in the way of their own self. Like they're really good singers, but then they try to go into a business model, and that business ends up failing time and time again. But because they don't see it, because they're so attracted to that particular business idea that they have, that they continue to pour hundreds of thousands, millions into that business without thinking that maybe that is not your forte for that particular business idea. Maybe it's a completely different business idea that you have. So you have to be able to be willing to look at yourself, look at what's going on, and really lay down a foundation that would be quite helpful for you. So that is all I have for today, actually. And I hope that you really got a lot of value out of today. If you did, please take a share, hit the share button with your friends and family. And one last thing. Uh, I have 3 more tips just like this that I just shared with you. And if you're wanting those tips, I can definitely send them to you. And you just have to message me in the comment section, or message me through personal messenger, and I will definitely get those to you. So I want to thank you so much for being on the call. You guys have a blessed day, and we will talk to you tomorrow on the day 8 of the 14-day challenge that I'm doing.